The globe has shrunk. Technology is a vivid stage for all ventures. Heartiest greetings to all. The morning enlivens into an enlightening program, a webinar. This platform paves, widens the horizons of an intellectual culmination and pursuit of the Department of English, Dhanansagar College of Arts, Science and Commerce, Bangalore, India. Happiest morning to the August assembled, from United Kingdom to the United States of America and India. Today creates a melange which sparks, ignites, invokes, and unveils indispensable English from United Kingdom's Anglo-Saxon to the ELA historical English language amendment of United States of America. Heartiest welcome to the congregation, a gladdening and enlivening welcome to associates and comrades over the oceans. Warmest welcome, pride and privilege on expressing a note to the Dukes of Dhanansagar institutions. Honorable Chairman Dr. Hemachandra Sagar and Honorable Dr. Premachandra Sagar, Vice Chairman of DSI, for their ever encouraging and elevating mission towards international collaborations of global standards. On behalf of Dhanansagar College of Arts, Science and Commerce, extending and gracing an honorable welcome to the Secretary, Sri V. Galaswamy, the pioneer and dignitaries of DSC, ASC Educational Frontiers. Warmest welcome to the Director and Principal, Dr. Nagraj Shenoy. A hearty welcome to the Director, MBA, Bangalore University, Dr. B.R. Venkatesh. Hailing a shower of welcome to respective heads of departments of postgraduate and undergraduate courses, Master of Commerce and Computer Application. The undergraduate courses respectively, Bachelors of Science, Commerce, Management and Computer Application. Cheering a gladdening welcome to the aspirers, the aspirants of DSC, ASC, a bouquet of welcome to the erudite scholarly professors of DSC ASC2. The English entourage through the sands of time is timeless and perennial ever. The avenues of historical metamorphosis from ancient to the millennium. The English essence and ecstasies unfolding into creative writing, business writing of mankind's and civilization of every slice and sector of the modern mechanized world of technology, English in creativity and innovations, sports, fashion, banking, science, art, finance, and business is indeed the scepter and the torch of English. Technical writing, the confluence of man, the confluence of man's mechanics match magnificent English. Technology integrates, technocrats flaunts. Indeed, the technological blend emerging as technical writing. The platform is now also a cultural immersion and a cultural launch from United Kingdom to the United States of America. Now unfolding, cheering and echoing a heartiest welcome to the proficient guest speakers, Ms. Usha Mandya and Ms. Radhika Puthiyetath. Now, I take immense pleasure to invite Professor Soni for the guest speaker profile. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome the speakers of the day. Miss Usha Mandya, she has 13 years of experience in technical writing. She started her technical writing career in Bangalore and worked at Oracle for 2.5 years before moving to the UK. She's currently working at Docker in Cambridge. Before Docker, Miss Usha worked at various organizations in the UK, such as Citrix or Deutsche Bank. Ma'am holds a bachelor's degree with a gold medal in English literature She then completed her master's degree in mass communication and journalism with first rank and four gold medals from the University of Mysore. Outside work, Usha loves reading Kannada and English literature if her 3 years young kid permits her. She also enjoys hosting cultural events in the UK and loves to travel to explore new cultures around the world. Ma'am, we welcome you on this platform.
Thank you so
Today we
much.
have a more eminent speaker, Ms. Radhika. Ms. Radhika loves to call herself a technically oriented technical writer and community enabler. She is passionate about open source technologies and her contributions have been featured on various platforms. She has built and managed open source communities and has contributed to well known open source foundations such as Genome, ASF, and CNCF. Ms. Radhika currently works at Sysdig, San Francisco. She holds a bachelor's degree in computer science and a master's degree in mass communication and journalism from the University of Mysore. She has completed her post-bachelor program in information science from Columbia University, New York. When not working, Ms. Radhika unlocks her artistic work and attends at creating art that she loves. I welcome Ms. Usha as well as Ms. Radhika on this platform. Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, Mukesh. Thank you for the warm welcome. First
Yes,
of all,
ma'am.
I'd like to say thank you for everyone, for joining this session. It's such a pleasure to have you all here. So, can I start presenting? Can you make me the presenter, please? Yeah, thank you. Okay, so can you all see my screen? Sorry, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Radhika. Thank you. Welcome everyone for this session. It's good to see so many students. So why are we here today? Um, Sorry, can someone please mute? We're here to Radhika and I would like to introduce to this world of technical writing. Technical writing is like really a vast subject. We've tried to condense it to like 45 minutes to an hour kind of a session. So what we are trying to cover in this session. So we would like to introduce you to what is technical communication in the broader sense of this word, and then understand how technical writing is different from other types of writing, like maybe the feature writing that you read in newspapers, or academic writing, or some scholarly articles of some other technical subjects. How technical writing is different, and what exactly are the skills like you need to become a technical writer, for example, and what do technical writers do on a day-to-day basis. And so what exactly do we write? What exactly is technical? So can anything become like can anything technical become technical writing? So we'd like to cover some aspects like that. And so, as I said, like technical writing is not confined to any specific degree or anything. Anyone can become a technical writer if you have certain skills. So we will cover all those skills as well during the session today. So, and for those of you who are wondering, like, is this the right profession? Can I become a technical writer? We are giving you some pointers and some study materials, at the end of the session, so you can go through and learn technical writing or do a course. There are so many free courses out there that you can do yourself, and then equip yourself with some of the skills that helps you in becoming a technical writer. So without much ado, let's get started. So, what exactly is technical communication, right? So, technical writing is it's an art of communicating complex information using as simple and clear words as possible. So, like to
key things here, like complex information, because it's we're writing technical document, but not just like leisurely writing. So it has to be clear and use as fewer words as possible to make your readers understand. Again, it depends on who you're writing to. So if you're writing to a highly technical audience, you kind of assume some knowledge. And whereas if you're writing for average users, let's say for someone who's using WhatsApp, so the choice of words that you use would be different. So some of the examples that I could give is if you're trying to install Google Meet on your mobile and something doesn't work, probably go and search the help documentation to see why you're not able to install Google Meet on your mobile, or what was the error message that you see, and how to interpret that error message. So that is written by technical writers. And another good example I can take here is Signal. Many of you may have heard about, WhatsApp changing their privacy policies, and many people are moving towards Signal. So even before installing Signal, probably some of us would love to understand how exactly Signal compares to WhatsApp. So what are the features that Signal offers when compared to WhatsApp? Can I still put my status messages? Can I see if my friend sees my message? Will it still be like a double tick or something else? So what are the other features, and how Signal is better than WhatsApp? So even before we install Signal on our mobile, we would probably go and read, some of the basic information or the features it offers. So all that is technical communication. It's written by technical writers. And for those of you from computer science background, you may understand, you'd like to know how to install Ubuntu on your machine, for example, or how do I for those of you who are familiar with cloud computing, how do you create a virtual machine, or how do you configure networking, how do you configure storage for the virtual machine, and how do you eventually deploy to the cloud? So these are some of the examples. And and for those of you who are familiar with containerization, containerization is a technology where you build your applications within isolated environments called containers. So how do you build your containers and ship to the cloud? So all that kind of information is written by technical. Again, key things to keep in mind: technical writing is broad, it exists in different fields. We are only concentrating on IT today. There are technical writers who work in different fields, legal, pharmaceutical, like medicine, and other fields as well. So broadly speaking, it's an art of simplifying complex information. So, how is it different from other types of writing? So, as I said, we use as fewer words as possible. So, a user who's reading your document doesn't have to go to refer to a dictionary to understand what it means. You don't have to flaunt your vocabulary. It's just using as simple words as possible, and understand. As I said, depending on the audience. If you're writing for highly technical audience, you use certain words that they already assume certain knowledge. Whereas if you're writing for an average user, like any user with a minimal English skills, you use very simple words. And also technical documents get translated into different languages. So it's very important to understand that technical documents shouldn't contain any jargons or any complex words, because it's difficult to translate that into different languages. So, so that's these are some of the aspects or characteristics of technical docs. And when compared to creative writing, like all the stories that you read, they evoke emotion. You read to to make you happy. It enhances some of the emotions within you. So, so whereas technical writing, you read to complete a task. That task could be installing a product, understanding how a feature works, or when you're in trouble, when there's some problem with installation or managing something, you go there to understand how to solve that problem. So that's technical docs are mostly task oriented, whereas creative writing is mostly you read it for leisure. And technical writing again is not kind of your bedtime story. You only go there when you have a problem or to understand more about a product. And how is this different to academic writing? So, for example, you can read about some very in-depth scholarly articles about a specific technology, right? So here, the academic writing only concentrates on one specific subject, and goes in detail about the implementation and everything, whereas technical communication is mostly to help the users understand and achieve a specific task. So let's take an example here. So I previously used in one of single sign-on in the previous slide. So basically, single sign-on is like let's take a classic example here. Your Gmail ID. So you have your Google ID, which you use for your Gmail. You can use for your Drive, where you can store some documents, store your pictures in Photos, Google Photos, and then you can also sign into Google Map. So it's just one ID which enables you to use multiple applications. So within technical documentation, we would write this as single sign-on means you have to sign in. You don't have to sign into every application. You sign in once, but you're automatically logged into other applications using the same credentials. Credentials meaning your Google username and password. If we were to write the same thing for academic writing, we talk about, like all the federated environments it uses, the protocol it uses. As a user, I don't need to understand how single sign-on is implemented. All I care about is how do I use single sign-on so I can log into different applications. And if we were to use the same example for creative writing, like, if you just like using metaphors, you would say you step in once, but you're embraced everywhere you set foot in. So these are some of examples to help you identify or differentiate between technical writing and other forms of writing. So yeah, I would now like to ask my friend Radhika to take over. So Radhika will cover the next set of slides. Radhika,
Yeah,
um,
thanks, Usha.
can I stop sharing so I can share?
You can share, I guess.
Is that okay?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
okay.
you don't have to.
Mhm.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having us here, and I'm really excited to discuss technical writing from my perspective. So, uh, Usha has given a great introduction, and let's step back. And when we go back to our childhood, we aspire to become astronauts, pilots, doctors, and so on. But we know that not everyone can, become an astronaut or pilot. But being a part of the industry is also is noble as well as an exciting path, and that is precisely is the beauty of technical writing. So, as technical writing, you can choose the industry you are excited about. So, as Usha said, it's not just limited to software industry. You can be in medical field, you can be in insurance, you could be in medical pharmaceuticals, business writing, and so on. So, as a business writer, you write reports that elicit business response. As a science writer, you write science reports and you write in science journals. And in government and medicine, you normally deal with rules and regulations, and especially in medical, you might end up writing about how to use a medical instrument and so on. So what I'm saying is your degree or your graduation, what graduation you have done is not important in technical writing. The only thing is, are you passionate about the field and are you ready to explore and to learn? As writers, you will learn every day a new technology. You know that like technology like changes every minute. So as a technical writer, you should be ready to open your wings and learn and remove the complexity in what you learn in the technology and present it in a simple and easy to uh, easy to understand for the user. And as a writer, the another thing you should focus on is having empathy for the user, because if you don't understand what the person is reading would expect, otherwise you cannot write for the audience. uh, so, Usha, let's go to the next.
Mhm.
So, as so you know, I said about like empathy and writing simple English and so on. So what do we write? So let's take a WhatsApp. That's the easiest example. So why do we look at WhatsApp FAQ? So maybe and another example is Signal. So why would we go and check out Signal? You just want to learn like what is there in it, right? What is you might end up like comparing WhatsApp and Signal, as Usha said. So you write about what is the product, what problem that product is going to solve, and what problem that is helping as a user, and what is the benefit of using that product. And for example, in WhatsApp, you so what is the benefit? Like you can text, you can call, you can screen share, you can even transfer money, and so on and so on. Those are the benefits of using WhatsApp. So when you compare, go and check Signal and see like, see, do we have the same feature that WhatsApp is using? It's Signal also is giving it to you. And what are the features? Yes, you can update status. You can share stories, and club with other Facebook products like Instagram and so on. So those are the feature. And as a technical writer, you write about all this feature. And another aspect is that, as Usha said, technical writing is not a leisure reading, and it's not, we don't write to appeal to readers' emotions. So if you think like, when do you open a technical documentation? You have a problem in hand, and you want to see like what's going on, how to fix that problem. For example, you try to log into your Windows laptop, and what you see is the blue screen. What you do, you just see why this blue screen is showing up. So you Google, you take your mobile and check what's happening. So you are tensed, and if you give like 2-page essay about that green, sorry, the blue screen, you will not be happy. And if you see the very complicated words, you might say, what is going on? I just want to log into my Windows. Why are they giving this long essays? So those are the stuff that as a technical writer you will be writing. And another is like, what is so every month, like sometime like every week, a new version might come out. So you will also write as a writer like, what is the new feature you are offering in your product. And from the engineering perspective, there are several other documentation you write, like API documentation. APIs are nothing but how to integrate to applications. And you write about how to use that application programming interface to integrate to product. Say like WhatsApp, business what, uh, WhatsApp has a business version which has APIs that you can integrate with application. You might go and check out how to do that. And product specification docs, that's usually done by the product managers, who goes and talk to the customers and collect their requirement. They come back and write product specification docs, and talk to the engineers. Okay, these are the requirements from the customers, and build a product. So that's another example. And KB articles, that is knowledge based article, which is focused on a single problem. Usha, could you just click on that KB article? Maybe we can show some examples.
Mhm.
I think it's an AWS one.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a Amazon Knowledge Center. It's, you can see many knowledge base articles. So each articles, you click on anything random. Maybe we can show something. Compute, maybe that's more we are familiar. Okay, yeah, yeah. So here you can see like there is a problem. So you're not talking about what is the product or features or anything. There is a problem. How do I calculate the total network usage for my EC2 instance? So there is a problem. It's helping to helping that administrator to calculate total network usage for that EC2 instance. EC2 instance is nothing but uh, a, you can consider your laptop on a cloud. So how do you calculate how much, what is the network usage? And it's showing what is the problem statement and how do you do that, what are the prerequisites, and what are the steps you have to do to resolve that. Step one, step two, and see, you can see like what you're supposed to do in. So you can see here, this is like appealing to the user's motivation to do a task. So, what is the user's motivation? He has a problem, he has to calculate what is the network usage. So, that is the problem in hand, and this document is solving the problem. It's helping that user to get that information. It is as simple as that. So, Usha, could you show one that WhatsApp FAQs? That's the best
Yeah.
example that we can see online about technical documentation.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah.
So, if you look at this technical documentation, I would say the way it is organized, the way it presents information. So, these are like frequently asked questions. So, they are presenting, from a user perspective. So, if you see like iPhone, if you're an iPhone user, go underneath iPhone. If you're an Android user, go to under Android section. If you have something generic questions, you will go to the general bucket. So you can see the many examples there. Like, so say somebody's like you, how do you know like it's you have been banned on WhatsApp? So you just go there and check how, what is temporarily banning an account. So you get the information and how to download and install. So here it's explaining what is a banned account, how do you know to whether your account is banned or not, and so on, so on. And you can see download and install, how to install, how to, from where you can download, how you, like say you have an issue with WhatsApp, you have to reinstall, how to do that. And there are several use cases that is presented from a user perspective, and I would say it's one of the best example for you to check out to see how the technical documentation is presented. So, Usha, could you go back and check the troubleshooting one? Could you click that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So here is an example. Look, it's a normal problem like day to day. We might face connection problems. So say suddenly you are not able to connect to WhatsApp. What you will do? You just you know type those strings on Google, and this search item might come up, and see. So if you're an iPhone setting, what you're supposed to do. If you're Android, what are the steps you are supposed to do. So they are giving several reasons for which could be the reason for you are not able being able to connect to WhatsApp. So this is a best example for troubleshooting, and there are several other material that you can see here. So let's go back to the slides. So could you click to next one? Next slide.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, next one. Yes. So we know like what are the cases that we write, like what types of technical documentation you write. So when you consider any type of writing, not just technical writing, any traditional discourse, there are several characteristics like what is the context, who are the audience, and what is the purpose. And for technical writing also it applies. So audience, for each documentation, like what you write, there should be a clearly defined audience. If we don't know the audience, we will not be able to write clearly and concisely. So say it's like you don't know the audience, maybe you will be using the jargons which may not be familiar to the readers. So when you start writing a documentation, a piece of writing, you can you should clearly understand who the audience are, what is their educational level, what is their knowledge level, are they familiar with the product, are they new users, or they are intermediate. You're kind of familiar, but you cannot, not really thorough with the product, or you're an advanced user, you have been using the product for a while and you know in and out and how to solve their problem. So for example, a new user might want to know the features and how that is better than a competitor product, right? If an advanced user, mostly they know in and out of the product, what they would look for is how to troubleshoot a problem. And context is something like how the users would receive the documentation and how do they perceive, and that would decide what format you choose to write. For example, an in-app documentation might differ from a website. So for example, a WhatsApp app, when you click it might open it might be an in-app help. So for a SaaS application or a Gmail. So if you want to, like, you have questions about Gmail, you want to look at the support material, you might look at the browser and look for the information. So the context determines what kind of format you decide to choose to write the technical documentation. So while doing all this, what you're trying to do is you're tailoring communication to meet audience needs. So the audience or the customer is the king. And as writers, your first and foremost, goal is to help them succeed, help them use the product and solve their problem in hand or enhance their lifestyle. So can we go to the next slide? So okay, so how do we write? We said like we write. So first of all, having empathy. So to have empathy, you should know what are the scenarios, what are the use cases that a user would use this product. So to do that, you have to install and use that product. Say for example, you are writing a documentation for Windows 10. So what you are supposed to do, you have to install the product and see like how to install, how to configure stuff, how to connect to network, and so on. So unless and until you don't use it yourself, you cannot write, right? And of course, you cannot figure out everything. You should ask subject matter expert, the developers who build this product, and the product management team who go out and collect customer requirement from the field, and the professional service and the field engineers who help install the product. And other than that, you can also research and develop the domain expertise. For example, you are writing for containers, you should know what is container, what is monoliths and micro how do you install that, what is cloud, and so on. So it's very important that you understand the domain clearly, and you have a passion to understand and learn about that domain. Unless and until you have that passion, you will not enjoy your whatever you are doing. So another thing we will do is, as I said, it's important to understand the audience. So we do audience analysis, and we'll also look at the competitor documentation to see how we present information. So say you are writing about Signal, of course you should check out how Google Meet documentation is written, or WhatsApp documentation is written, to understand how information is presented. you know and of course you develop content strategy. Content strategy is nothing but what information, how and where to present, that is in short. But it's content strategy itself is a huge topic that I'm not going to that side. And of course, as writers, you design document. So what are the chapters and sections and so on. And of course, you have to plan the documentation delivery. Like when the product is released, you have to ship your documentation also with the product. And maybe you have to work on localization, how to translate that document into the language, various language that your audience would understand. And along with text, we might also create illustration to aid the users to understand complex technology. So those are these graphics and icons are the, I would say, the signposts to help them understand or navigate the complex material that you are presenting. So let's go to the next slide. So coming to the tools, first of all, we don't have to know all the tools. Each company would use different tools, so you don't have to focus. But if you learn one tool, it's easy to pick, and most of the times you learn, on job. So it's knowing the tools is not important. But having said that, there are different types of authoring, markdown authoring that Usha would show her, how to author in Markdown and create pull requests. But I can show talk about other type of authoring. Unstructured authoring is like you normally write in Google Docs or Word or Confluence Wiki. It's just there are not specific elements. You just type in heading and the content and so on. And for writing or creating illustrations that might be familiar to you, like Photoshop, Illustrator, so on, that you use to create illustrations and graphics, and maybe you capture screens. We all take screenshots. That also might be useful for the technical documentation. Having said that, I will hand it over to Usha to show you how Markdown authoring is and how GitHub is used.
Sure. Thanks, Radhika. Right. So, as I said, as Radhika mentioned, there are like different tools out there. You don't have to know everything. So, but the only thing you need to know is have an open mind and aptitude to learn. So, I'll show you like one example, which is like Markdown authoring. So, this is like very simple. I mean, it's easy for anyone to pick up. So, when I started, I didn't know any authoring as a technical writer. But yeah, so this is Markdown, where you have there are certain rules that you say to for example, to write headings. So if I to use two hashes, it becomes like a heading two, and I give a title using some tags like title, and use keywords so users can search for these documents. And if I want to redirect to this page from something else, I add a metadata here. Metadata is like information about a topic. So that's just an example. I use Visual Studio Code for my authoring. So this is how I have I've organized my folders here. So the authoring. So we as technical writers, both Radhika and I use almost the same process as engineers to write documentation and submit our content and make sure it gets published. So I write my document, I make some updates. Let's say I'll just say overview, and then I save the file, and then I use GitHub to check in my changes. So I Git status, I just make sure that I'm in the right branch, and then all the changes that shows the red ones indicate the files that I've modified. So and I use a command to compile everything into a container. So this is how our engineers also do. So once they develop software, they run a code to build their application and test it locally. So I'm doing something similar. I run some commands. So it runs a series of checks to build my documentation locally. So it, for example, you can see it's getting some files, fetching from some upstream resources, and it's kind of now up to date. So now I can go to my browser and check, point it to a local port, local instance, so where all my changes will appear. This is the Docker documentation side. Docker is the company where I work. So I've made some changes and now go here and check whether the changes I have made reflect. So just to show you like an example, so this is the live site, which doesn't have any changes. That's like, if you see the URL, it's the live site. If I go to guides here, it doesn't, it just has like get started and then develop with Docker. Whereas the instance that I'm showing has like reference architecture. I've kind of introduced like this new concept here. So I would like to see how that looks even before I publish the content. So once I have this content ready, I'll go to GitHub and create a pull request. So I go here and then like, I already have a pull request here. So I'm just like adding all the changes that I've made. Um, so once this opens, so that's like a draft. I'm working on this. I've changed like 25 files in here that list like all the changes I've made. I've made like updates to the table of contents. So once everything is ready, it GitHub runs a series of checks to ensure all like in the builds. I don't have to verify anything. There are like CI/CD pipelines involved as well. So once everything is ready, I'll mark a reviewer so who can take a look at my document and make sure it's technically accurate, and then it serves the purpose that I intend to do. So once that's done, we can merge this, and once it's live, that goes live on the Docker, the main documentation side. So this is just like a quick flavor of how like we use similar processes, and a quick insight into like the type of work that we do. So going back to the slides, again, like these are skills that you can pick up. Like every company has a different authoring system, but the entire tech writing industry is now shifting to what is called like docs as code, where you write documentation as code. So what does a typical day for a technical writer involve? So Radhika gave a very good overview of what the type of information we collect and how we write and all that. So what exactly do we do on a day-to-day basis? Right? So do we just sit there in our own silos with the headphones on and then just write documents? Probably the answer to it is no. So you need to talk a lot because you need information. So you the first thing that you do is like respond to any emails, or like these days people use like instant messaging like Slack or like other platforms. So if there are any messages that require your attention, you go and attend to it, and then you respond, and you go and attend meetings where people usually discuss what's being developed and then published for the next release. So and then you schedule some meetings with the subject matter experts. These are the developers who are creating this feature. So you go there and understand, and you are the first user of this product even before it goes live. So you would sit and like you install the product on your machine and you try out the feature yourself, and then make sure there could be certain things that the developer has assumed, but you may have to do some extra configuration. Let's say you need a certain of a what you need a certain version of like an operating system to perform a certain task. So you need to write all that information as a prerequisite, or there are certain things that may not work when you install. So these are like caveats or like known issues. So you would write all those things, and then make sure you test it and then start writing. So there's a lot of collaboration involved. So as Radhika showed, like there are feature specifications where the product managers capture what the customer exactly needs. So based on that, you try and understand what are the problems you're trying to solve. So give them a good introduction, and then give a good draft, and then based on the steps, like depending on what you're writing, you write like a task oriented. If you're writing thinking about the example we saw in AWS, how do I calculate my network usage? So a step-by-step instruction. And you design your content in such a way that like it shouldn't be like just essay. It shouldn't look like an essay. It should have enough information and visual cues so users are engaged with your content. So you don't want users to go halfway, right? You want the users to succeed. You want them to be your heroes. So they should feel empowered when they read and achieve something. So you design content in such a way, and then you
Usha, you are muted.
Yeah, you can carry on. Mute him. Once again, once again.
Sorry for the interruption. Wait a moment.
Try it on me. Is that better? Can you hear me?
Yes, you
Can
can
you hear me?
start. Yeah, yeah. You are audible.
Right.
You are audible.
Remind me what's the last thing you said? I'll
Uh,
continue.
yeah. Sorry for the disturbance.
I know it's okay. Okay. I'm not sure. I'll just like carry on with like what I left off. Basically collaborate a lot with your subject matter experts and then draft content. Once it's ready, you send them for reviews. Like I showed the GitHub example, right? So that's still that pull request is still in a draft stage. Once it's ready for review, I'll mark it as ready for review. So I get some comments. So all the developers will add their comments. I address, and it might take a couple of iterations. And once it's ready, so we publish. So once and a tech writer's job doesn't end there. We constantly get feedback. So there could be like many other platforms how we can get feedback. Some can, if you're using GitHub, people can create an issue within GitHub and say, I'm not able to understand and this, or there's something missing. Can you please give me more information? So you gather feedback and try to address that as well. So this is like in a nutshell, what happens on a typical day for a technical writer. So as we discussed, it's not like just sitting in your own kind of silo or a bubble and writing. You only 30% of the time you create like new content. You communicate a lot, collaborate because you need information from people who are like subject matter experts. So then if something's not working, like the platform, maybe the authoring tool that you're using isn't working, or something's not working, so you also go and troubleshoot is those issues. So while doing that all the time, you kind of like acquire new skill sets. So that's more important. So we kind of like understood like what technical writing is all about. So what constitutes effective technical document, right? So technical document must be cater to the audience to make them successful. So what exactly does it mean to be an effective doc? So no matter how good documentation or accurate documentation you have, if it's not easy to find, it's difficult. Like your agenda is not achieved, right? So you need to make sure the users find information that they're looking for, and make sure it's organized, correctly. So you have your introduction. Again, let's take some examples. I'll show you some examples here. It has like a proper heading and like step-by-step instructions. And also, if you're talking about like a concept, make sure there's like a diagram or like an architecture diagram that explains how things work. And let's take some quick examples here. Again, I think we have like WhatsApp examples because it's easy that many of us can relate to this. So WhatsApp, like if you look for two-factor authentication, though they say two-step verification, they're still bringing you results. This is kind of like what technical writers also work about, like using the keywords that I showed earlier, right? So keywords like that help users to get information, like bring these pages up when you're reading documentation. So there's so many results out there that you get when you look for two-step verification. And organization, like that's another example here. So how Organize, I think we looked at this page earlier where there are like general information, Android. So as soon as you come to this page, you understand I'm a user, like I'm an iPhone user. I would like to understand how to restore my chat history. So you click here. Or if you want to understand, I need to set up a new WhatsApp business account. So what do I do next? How do I edit my business profile? So this is more important than just writing good documentation, because this is how you serve your content to your users. So and again, like easy to use, can't stress enough on that. So no matter how how much information it's there, it must be easy to use. It must have like very clearly documented steps. It must be accurate. So that is the reason where you have drafts, so others can verify it's technically accurate and it's complete. And as we've been talking, it's task technical document must be task oriented. You just can't. These are not blogs. They could be technical blogs, but when it comes to technical documentation, these are usually task oriented. You there is certain goal in mind when you write these documents. So, Radhika, would you like to take it over from here?
Thanks, Usha.
Mhm.
So I hope we have given enough introduction, fundamental concept about technical writing, and I think it's a time to think, introspection to see is this profession right for you. So you can just sit back. As we said, your degree is not important, but the interest in the domain is the most important aspect. So the only question you have to think is, can you write clear and simple English? And are you like worried about, if I write in simple English, will I come across as a less of an expert? No, there is nothing like that. If you cannot explain a complex subject to a 5-year-old or a grandmom, you cannot be considered as a good technical writer. So the first thing is that you need to be able to strip down the complexity in the technology and be able to present it in a simple and concise way to the end users. And next question is like, so whatever domain you are, like, are you enjoying that domain? Are you comfortable using technology? Do you enjoy? Because as writers, as technical writers, you deal with technology day and day night. It's just not just the product that you use, the thing that even the authoring tools is another technology. You communicate, and for communication you use technology. You have to sit and test before writing. You sit and uh, test your product. You are playing around with several products, technical aspects. So this is your, like, 60-90% of time that you are dealing with technology. So it's important that you enjoy technology, you enjoy learning technology, and you enjoy writing about the technology. And do you have the right attitude to pick up new skills? Because technical writing is not just about writing. You are not sitting in a silo and writing about it. You are a team player, you are a team member. Every day you are communicating with slice of experts like engineers, product management, marketing team, sales team, to name a few. So you should be comfortable playing, be a team player, and be able to communicate effectively. And as when you work in a team, conflict can happen. And how do you resolve conflict? And are you empathetic? Can you, like, that empathy is very, I cannot emphasize enough. Because you have to be empathetic as a writer, you have to be empathetic as a teammate, because you have to always think about the other person. From, there will be like conflicting ideas coming for even when you write. Because engineers will have a certain idea to, they say, okay, uh, they might sometimes say, like, very complicated, like long sentence. They say, okay, you have to say in this way, that's otherwise it will not be clear to the audience. But you are the audience advocate. You should know better than the engineer about the audience and how they read and understand, because you are the first user, right? So you should be able to communicate that to the engineers and convince them that your way is the right way. So you have to be a team player and should be able to resolve conflict. And yes, every job has pressure. And as a technical writer, yes, to be able to write under pressure. Because software field, especially in software field, it's like things change, it's dynamic, things will change. You might write a long documentation, like a 2-page documentation, and suddenly the management decide that we are not rolling out this feature because the customers do not want this. So you might scrape everything. And imagine the kind of investment you did to write that document, and then at the end of the day, when you get to know that it's no longer required, you may feel upset. And those are the several scenarios that you will face in a life as a technical writer. So are you ready to face those challenges? If you can do that, yes, this is the right profession. And I can tell you, like, if you enjoy what you're writing, you as a person, you enjoy learning, I would say this is the right profession. And don't worry about what kind of a background you are. You're an art student or commerce student or science student, doesn't matter. The only thing you should consider is you should be passionate about whatever you're doing and passionate about learning. So let's move on to next slides. So, okay, you have decided, yes, this is the profession. So how would you launch yourself? First and foremost, having a CV. That is the single most document your prospective employer would see and assess your writing skill. If you write a 10-page resume and submit, no one would look at it because nobody has time. So be careful when you create a resume. Be specific, just point about your skills, what you have done, and up to the point, nothing extraneous. Just one page or two pages, that's it. And if you have a website, that would be really great. And if you can show something up there what you have done, so you might use some technology, you might use, like, you might love to review the tools that you use. Maybe you love to review about the car or anything that, write about it, post in your blog, or even you can use your social media, your Facebook, your LinkedIn. Use those mediums. Have a LinkedIn profile. That's very important. That's how prospective employer would find you. So have a LinkedIn profile, have a GitHub page, and have your write-ups. If you enjoy like creating simple apps, have it ready, write the documentation for the app, put it up on the GitHub, write about it in a website or your blog or on Facebook or LinkedIn, because social media itself is open, anybody can access. And trust me, your employer would go and search your name, and what would come up is on your Facebook and LinkedIn and so on. So be sure that you have a clean social media presence. And another would be like Stack Overflow, where you can go and ask questions and build points. That would also matter, because especially if you're going to the software field as technical writer. And I cannot emphasize on open source project. There are several open source projects. Just go to Google and search open source projects. There are several open source projects that would look for interns. So especially if you have interest, ping me offline. I my project, the project that I'm involved in, looking for interns who can, like, kind of review the website and technical documentation and so on. Even if you just know to fix a typo, that would be really great. So in open source, you can, like, what's the advantage is that you can do as simple as like fixing the typo, but that also valued. And that's how you get to meet people from different organizations, because open source is for everyone, anybody can contribute. There is no a restriction as with the employer. Whoever is your employer, you can contribute freely in your free time. And that's how you can build network. And there are several meetups for technical writer. In Bangalore, there are several STC, Society for Technical Communicators. There are several Technical Writers of India and Write the Docs and several meetups. Just go to meetup.com and search for Technical Writing Meetup. Go attend, talk to people, build your network. And there are several technical writing forums. We have given those resources in the end of the slide. So subscribe to the writings forums, ask questions, you say that you want to intern, you're interested in this profession, you want to learn, show your passion, show your work, it shouldn't be like it need not be like a great, like perfect technical documentation. Whatever you have written, even your blog, show them. Even if you're creating a writing would do, like just show them that you can write clearly and concisely. And there are conferences, we, there are like several conferences that would let students freely. So make use of it. You are in Bangalore, make the best use of the resources available. And that's it. That's pretty much it. You can, it's not difficult, so if any of you would be interested in internship, just get back to me. I can help you. I would personally mentor, like whatever I've learned on the job and whatever I know of, I can help you learn that skills. And as from my personal experience, I have not attended any training. I learned everything on the job. So anybody can do. If I can do, anybody can do. So don't worry about your background or anything. You can learn the skills to succeed as a technical writer. So that said, I will hand it over to Usha to cover.
Sure. Thank you, Radhika. Yeah, thank you, Radhika, for such a motivational talk and inspiring students as well. So as Radhika said, there's so many opportunities out there. You just need to take that first step. Sometimes that can be like difficult. So go build your GitHub profile, write create a LinkedIn account. And even before you find a job, you have some experience. So most of the people you would look for skill set, but if on top of it, if you already have built like a profile for yourself, like you will stand out from the rest of the people who apply for the same job. So we have given you some example, some links here where you can go and read about technical writing. And so Google has a very good course on technical writing. So these are free. So you don't have to pay for any course. So all that, we'll share the slide deck after the session, so you can take a look at this. And then yes, at your own pace, you don't have to complete everything in one single day. So you can just look at these examples. And oops, sorry. And then there's something called season of docs, where you can take a project and start working on a project as well. So there are some links in here. Every technical documentation, like their own style guides. Some follow like the industry standard style guides, like the Microsoft Manual of Style or the Chicago Manual of Style. So we've given some links here. And STC, Society for Technical Communicators, is a very good group. I got introduced to technical writing through STC when I was doing my journalism masters. So STC came to our university and did a session on technical writing, very similar to this one, and that's how I got into technical writing. So they do subscribe to their newsletter. They have amazing resources out there. Learning, you can just read their articles, keep yourself up to date about the trend, the industry trend, what's happening. And they also post some job openings for freshers. So that's another tip there. And if you have your Facebook account, there's Twin, TWIN, Technical Writers India group. So you can subscribe to that, where people post different sessions. There will be some free webinars that get posted. So you don't have to pay for those sessions. You just attend and equip yourself with some skills. And yeah, so there are all the links out here. So take a look at these, and you don't have to decide that you have to become tech writer today, but just go back, think about it. Any skill is important. So yeah, good luck. And so that's kind of wraps up our session. We'll open it for any question and answers now. I'll stop presenting.
Thank you so much, Ms. Usha and Ms. Radhika, for bringing a vast insight about technical writing. It's really an eye-opener session. Any questions? The audience, the participants, if you have any questions, please text in the chat box.
And we'll also share our email ID so you can get in touch with us. If you have any specific questions, feel free. We are here to help you. So any questions, you can reach out to us as well.
Ma'am, there's a question by Mr. Sushil that he has asked a question. Which subject we should study to become a technical writer?
It's as I said, technical writer is it doesn't stick to any specific domain. So the first thing to decide is to whether you want to go towards IT or different, choose your domain, which in which area you would like to become a technical writer. So if it's IT, if you think IT is your choice, so as you said, go to STC and other websites, start reading about what are the skills that users or the employers look for, and read about that. And even within IT, there are so many domains out there. There's there can be you can just be a networking expert, or within open source, there are so many foundations out there. It's quite broad. As a first step, I would say just go and explore what are the industry trends, what are the technologies, the latest trends in technologies. Explore that, and depending on where your interest takes you, probably you can then do selective in-depth reading, and then equipping yourself at that stage. So it all depends on your interest. Radhika, would you like to add to this one?
No, you have covered everything. It's all your
Sure.
interest. Yeah,
Sure, thank you.
sure.
Ma'am, there's one more question by Srihari, and he says that as a management and commerce student, how is it beneficial for him if you would like to go as a part-time technical writer?
Yeah, so again, you don't have to think that it's MCOM or BCom. Just take that out of your mind. So anyone, any degree can, anyone with any degree can become a technical writer. So so if you want to do part time while you're also studying, as we said, look at the links that we have shared here. Start studying about technical writing. Radhika's has some amazing intern. Do make use of those opportunities. It gives you very good value for your CV. So go, I mean, check out, what are the opportunities available. So while you're still studying, you can still, start building your GitHub profile, read what GitHub is all about, do some basic tasks, create your own personal project. So check in and check out some documents, but get yourself familiar with some of the technologies, I would say. Does
There's
that
a student, Shazia. Shazia would like to know about the internship in the technical writing process. Being a BCom student, is it possible for her to become an intern in the field of technical writing? She's asking.
Yeah, you don't have, so as we already said, like your degree is not important. What is important is you should be open to learning, you should be comfortable with the technology. Before coming for internship, we would ask you to go through some document, should ask you to, learn some tools like Usha showed how to do GitHub. That's very important in open source world when you come for internship. How to use like edit simple markdown documentation, and student or BCom student, you are, what are you doing as student? You are learning something, right? That's exactly you do on job as a technical writer. You are learning a technology and you are explaining, you are teaching, or you are instructing, to the audience. So keep that in mind. You should understand the user, you should understand uh, the field that you are, and be open to learning. That's most important. Don't worry about your background, your BCom, BSc, BA, or that doesn't matter. Whatever you do, you are learning. That's exactly you do as a technical writer. So come with an open mind and
Yeah.
be passionate. Yeah. The most thing
One
that any employer would look for is, are you passionate about what you do?
One more thing I would like to add here is there are people who've done their BCom and become software engineers today.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I know, like, personally, one of my friends, like, from Bangalore. So he did his BCom. He was a technical writer, and he was too much interested in the technology. He's now a software developer. So just because he did his BCom, he didn't stop himself from becoming a software engineer. So there are so many opportunities. Gone are the days when only BA students were doing, like, BA
Yeah.
related stuff. So it's quite open. All you need is like an aptitude to learn, and as Radhika stressed. So don't keep that barrier in your mind that I've done BA or BCom or BSc or anything. So anyone can become anything if you decide to become one.
And if I'm not wrong, like companies like Salesforce, it's mostly about business and commerce stuff. So if you have that background, it helps. You know the field, like you're. So the product is about, like, maybe like even Amazon. It's all about e-commerce, just
Yeah.
and Flipkart. So you have that, information where you are playing that product. What is the domain? So you have that background, how things work there. It might help you to pick up stuff. So go with that open mind. Like every field, like if it is BA, you need technology. Even if you're doing commerce, you need technology. So be
Yeah.
comfortable with the technology and should know like what you're doing. That's all.
Uh,
You can.
okay, ma'am, there is a last question by Professor Ravi Kumar. He would like to know the important textbooks for the technical writing skills. Could you please repeat textbooks? Yeah.
Yes, I have, but I. One second. Give me a second. I will show here. I have it. If I'm not wrong. Uh, so this is the.
So
Can you see here? Quality technical information and handbook for editors. So this book is recommended by my first company and all the technical writers read it. So it's the one document I refer throughout my career. So I still look at this document to see like how to improve my writing. So I would suggest this book. So one the best, I would say. So you can
Okay.
just take a note.
Yeah,
I
sure.
can just type in here.
I just did, Radhika. I just
Yeah.
typed in the chat. Developing quality technical information. Okay.
Yeah. And another book is like Write as a Code. Let me see. I can just type in here code or something. Write as it's written by Annie Jandal. I'm just googling. I have to find. Yes, just let me type. So this the has a website as well as a book. The link to the book, so you can buy that. So these are the two books I can suggest. Usha, do you have any you can share?
No, probably I usually refer for, like, the online, like the docs and the courses, like, another, like, the books are really good, so you can, like, go back and refer. So some of the links I refer is, like, especially with the changing industry standard, it's always like, you can keep yourself up to date. So I think we've added the links in there. You can refer to some of those as well.
The Google's technical course are the best, and you can take it your own pace. It's one of the best. I mean, the best, I would say.
Yeah. So I've just added a link to that as well in case you'd like to click or bookmark that for later reading.
Okay, we have last question in the line. Though it's a repeated question, it's by Chinmay Thakur. He says, what are the job profile for any technical writer for a management student?
Yeah, that's kind of,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
talking about, right. So like, don't worry about, you being a management student or a BA student. So like, Chinmay. So anyone can go into IT or medicine. as a management student, so you can still go and do like medicine, like documents on the medical field or a pharma sector. So technical writing, if you are a management student, we do have product management opportunities that kind of covers like across sectors. So product managers are who like who get in touch with our customers to understand what their needs are, and then come back and share it with the companies or the organization. They collect the feedback, how what are the problems that users are getting. They write some specifications based on that, and they manage the entire the flow from writing, gathering requirements, to making sure that it's developed, the software is developed based on what the user feedback that we got, and then making sure it's completely tested and documented. So they are kind of like an interface between the users or customers and the actual development that happens. So as a management student, probably you can think of that line, like a product manager, and business analyst is another like job profile. Again, business analysts do something similar, where they gather on all the information and make sure they write the specifications and then hand it over to the technical teams to implement that and make sure that gets delivered on time based on the schedules. Um,
And yeah, I also wanted to add there are like opportunity to be program managers, project managers, and you are running the show. So program is nothing but in a software field you release a product, a version of product. So you have to run, you have to plan the delivery, you have to coordinate with all the stakeholders. You have to set the milestones. You have to talk to the customers and and involve all the stakeholders and run the show and get the product released. That's what a program manager or a project manager would do. And of course, as a management students, you can think about going to these streams. And even as a technical writer, even companies like Google has program management, even Microsoft has program management, and Cisco also has program management for technical writing. So as program managers in technical writing team, you run the documentation delivery from inception to publishing and entire life cycle. So as management students, you have that skill set, like like how to like use the Excel sheet. If I'm not wrong, you'll be using the other tools as well, like management tools. So it's helpful for you to really shine in those areas.
Okay. Thank you so much to both the eminent speakers for enlightening all the brains today. Over to Professor Usha CR.
Thank you, sir. Well, good afternoon, one and all. We have reached the end of today's session. My heartiest congratulations to all of you for making this webinar a great success. An embarking platform unleashed webinar launched by the Department of English, DSC, AAC regards a thankful note. Foremost, I would like to thank our resource person, Usha Mandya, technical writer, Docker, Cambridge, United Kingdom. And resource person 2, Radhika Puthiyetath, technical writer, Sysdig, San Francisco, USA. Speakers have talked about writing is not just a technical act of your fingers on the keyboard. Writing is living. The success of the documentation effort lies in the users being able to correctly locate and use the resolutions to their issues on time and retain the knowledge. Technical writing is a continuous process of learning, carefully gathering, shifting, organizing, and assessing, all while trying to craft something that makes sense for a user. Thank you for both of the speakers sharing your valuable thoughts and techniques. Our young macro managers, entrepreneurs, and software developers are indeed impatient to use the techniques of writing to excel their career, and thanking a note to the aspirants of all the DSC AAC students. Immense thanks to our chairman, Dr. M. Chandrasagar. I thank Vice Chairman, Dr. Prem Chandrasagar,
I also thank Secretary Srigali Swami. I extend my thanks to our principal, Dr. Nagaraj Shanai, IQAC coordinator, Professor Gurunath R., BBA HOD, Dr. Supla Podar, BCom HOD, Professor Murgesha, BN, and also faculty fraternity. Extending a bouquet of thanks to the very ever supporting technical network at Google Meet are scholarly Professor Shalini Kumari Rawani, Professor Dharmendra Rao Jadhav, Professor Dikshita Gujarkar, and Professor Mukesh Soni. Special thanks to all the participants of various institutions. Thanks to one and all for participating and making grand success. Thank you. Have a nice day. Thank you all.
Thank you all so much for the opportunity. Really appreciate it. And if you don't realize, Usha and I were, we are friends. We studied in Mysore University. Usha was in English department. I joined English and then changed to journalism, but we are still good friends. And thank you
Yes.
so much, Usha, for organizing this. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Usha and Radhika for accepting
Thank you so
and
much.
sharing your thoughts, your techniques. Definitely, it will useful to the students. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Usha. And anybody like for the internship, please reach out to me.
Yes,
And
definitely.
all the best.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank
All the
you.
best, everyone. Yeah, take care. Good to have you
Yeah,
here. Bye.
yeah. Bye bye. Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Dear participants, kindly find the link in the chat box to receive the e-certificate. Kindly find the link in the chat box to receive the e-certificate. The link is posted in the chat box to receive the e-certificate. You need to fill the form, the feedback form, and to receive the e-certificate.